Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to Guns N' Roses Central, and we're doing another episode of Guns N' Roses True Story. So the song we're talking about today is Guns N' Roses, one of their best known songs, and that is Welcome to the Jungle, which was featured on Appetite for Destruction. So it was released as the album's second single initially in the UK in September of 1987, then again in October of 1988, this time including the US, where it reached number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 24 on the UK singles chart. So on the 1987 release, the maxi single format was backed with a live version of AC/DC's Whole Lotta Rosie and the band's debut single It's So Easy and Bob Dylan's Knocking on Heaven's Door. So in 2009, Welcome to the Jungle was named the greatest hard rock song of all time by VH1. So Axl Rose wrote the lyrics while visiting a friend in Seattle. So Slash described the development of the music for Welcome to the Jungle in his 2007 self-titled autobiography. He said, as the band was trying to write new material, Axl remembered a riff that Slash had played while he was living in the basement of Slash's mother's house. He played it and the band quickly laid down the foundations for the song as Slash continued coming up with new guitar parts for it. He credits Duff McKagan as coming up with the breakdown. Duff contradicts this in his autobiography, It's So Easy and Other Lies, saying it was from a song called The Fake that he wrote in 1978 for The Veins, a punk rock band that he was actually in. He also said that it was the first song he ever wrote and that it was later released as a single by the band. So, according to Slash, the song was written in approximately 3 hours. Now, Rose claimed the inspiration for the lyrics came from an encounter he and a friend had with a homeless man while they were in New York City. So, trying to put a scare into the young runaways, the man yelled at them, "You know where you are? You're in the jungle, baby. You're gonna die." So the band members have talked a lot about writing the song and the meaning behind the song. So here's what Slash had to say in Hit Parader in 1988. He said, Axl wrote the words in Seattle. It's a big city, but at the same time, it's a small city compared to Los Angeles. And the things that you're going to learn, it seemed a lot more rural up there. Axl just wrote how it looked to him. If someone comes to town and they were to find something, they can find whatever they want. Slash also revealed that Welcome to the Jungle is the first song that him and Axl ever wrote together. He said, Welcome to the Jungle is the first song that me and Axl wrote together. We still write the same way. We write a song in a day, in 3 hours of rehearsal, but it's not as desperate as it was. Now, Slash also stated about the song, it's the perfect introduction to Guns N' Roses. It came across, I think it was on the third take. We did the whole album that way, second or third take. That's where the spontaneity comes from. If you don't get it by then, you've lost the feel of it. He also said that he used a 6-string bass on Appetite, so Welcome to the Jungle's got one. You can hear this bring in the chords when it gets to the slow parts. That's the 6-string bass. Slash also talked a little bit more about actually writing the song. He said, I wrote that part, the intro with the delay, I specifically had with that effect in mind. I had one of those old funky gray plastic Boss pedal boards and one of those settings on it was delay. I turned it on and just started messing around. The line is pretty simple, but it sounded very cool with the echoed notes. What's funny is that there were a few extra notes at the beginning that dig-a-da before the pattern kicks in. That's because wherever we would do that song, I'd hit the first note a few times to make sure I was in time with the delay, and it just stuck as part of the intro. Slash also talked a bit about the creative process. He said, I normally don't think about the creative process. I go in and sort of adapt. When I'm practicing at home, I like to play a lot of chromatic stuff. I stop in between different notes and come up with different ideas and stuff. I'll play however many notes in succession, and then all of a sudden I'll catch 4 and realize that there's something there, and I'll start effing around with that. Rocket Queen is indicative of that approach, basically just sitting around playing, maybe zoning out, watching TV and playing guitar at the same time. All of a sudden, the ear catches something. Welcome to the Jungle has a lot of that too. It's more or less the same kind of way I've always written. If I'm just tying notes together, not really paying attention, when you catch on to something, you start there and begin working on an actual tune. So Slash also talked about how they slightly modified the recording of Appetite for Destruction from the demo that they had originally done. So he said, we started to demo all the songs that we were considering for Appetite and went through them with their producer Mike Klink, pretty much as they'd done before with very few changes. The only creative shift that occurred was one of Alan Niven's suggestions actually. So Alan Niven was the band's manager at the time. In Welcome to the Jungle, originally we repeated the section where Axl sings, when you're high, you never want to come down. Alan suggested taking one of them out. He was right, it made the song tighter. So basically when they recorded Welcome to the Jungle, they actually cut the breakdown down from 2 repetitions to just 1. So Duff has talked a bit about the song too. He said we have to agree to disagree on a lot of things. I'll give Slash credit and he'll give me credit, and we'll take credit other times when the other guy's like, wait, F dude. So there's this song I wrote when I was about 14 and recorded it with my first ever band, The Veins. It was a B-side of the single, a song called The Fake. If you ever get your hands on it, you'll hear the Welcome to the Jungle riff. I always thought that riff was too good. So in my 19-year-old recollection, I thought I brought that riff in from The Fake. I'm pretty sure I did. It's too late to argue. We split the publishing evenly, so none of us have even had to thank God. That was probably the smartest thing we did. You don't hear arguments over who wrote what or who gives an F. And Duff finally said, much as I love New York City, I cringe at the thought of Welcome to the Jungle being played to pump up the fans at Yankee Stadium. It is then I am on the opposite of pumped, and I always think to myself, no, that song wasn't written for you guys. So let's talk about the music video for Welcome to the Jungle. So originally MTV refused to actually play the music video. So it wasn't until David Geffen made a deal with the network and the video was going to be played only once. So it was going to be played around 4 a.m. Local time in New York, which would be 1 a.m. in LA on a Sunday morning. So as soon as the video aired, the network received numerous calls from people wanting to see the video again. So in spite of the early morning airtime, the song's music video caught viewers' attention and quickly became MTV's most requested video. So during an interview with Rolling Stone magazine about the music video, Guns N' Roses manager at the time, Alan Niven, said that he came up with the idea of stealing from 3 different movies: Midnight Cowboy, The Man Who Fell to Earth, and Clockwork Orange. Now, when the Live Air album came out in 1999, they actually released a second music video for Welcome to the Jungle. It featured different live clips from the Use Your Illusion tour spliced in with news footage as well, so I've linked to that video down below. Now let's talk about the song's use in popular media. It's, used at all these different sporting events. It was also licensed and used in the video game Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, which came out in 2004. And Axl actually appeared in the game as well. He played one of the radio DJs. And there was a recent interview done with Laszlo, who's actually one of the writers for the scripts that you hear on the radio stations. So he actually revealed that he still has the actual master recordings with Axl. So here's what he had to say. So he was on Opie and Anthony's radio show, and he said, my studio is on the ground floor. He said on the show, that's where GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas, all those masters, like the full recordings with Axl Rose and everything. I mean, all this stuff, he said, I started freaking out and grabbing just boxes of masters and putting it on the second floor, because I was like, I'm not going to let this stuff get ruined. Now, the song was also included in Guitar Hero 3, a game that also featured former Guns N' Roses guitarist Slash, and resulted in a lawsuit between Axl Rose and Activision, the publisher who released Guitar Hero 3. So Axl ended up suing Activision for $20 million, claiming that he was allegedly duped into licensing Welcome to the Jungle, and not knowing that Slash was going to be featured prominently in the game. So in the lawsuit, Rose claimed he was told during negotiations that the game wouldn't feature any reference to Slash, the guitarist with whom he's been famously feuding for 2 decades up until 2007. So the singer's lawsuit, though, wasn't filed until 2010, which was more than 3 years after the game came out. And in the end, Axl ended up losing the lawsuit because, like a lot of things in Axl's life, he was just too late. Now, the first time that Guns N' Roses ever performed Welcome to the Jungle live was in 1985 at the Troubadour. There is a clip on YouTube of them playing the Troubadour in 1985, and you can actually watch them performing Welcome to the Jungle. I've linked to that performance down below. And, Welcome to the Jungle has been a staple of pretty much every Guns N' Roses set list since the band got started in 1985. It was sometimes used as the opener for a lot of their concerts, but recently, even including the Use Your Illusion tour, they commonly open with It's So Easy. Now, there's demos of the song available on YouTube. Not only are there demos, but because the game was released for Guitar Hero 3, commonly when those songs were included in rhythm games, whether it's Rock Band or Guitar Hero, the developers would have to usually get the master recordings in order to include the songs in the game and chart them properly. So you should be able to find all these separated stems for each of the instruments on YouTube. So if you want to hear Izzy Stradlin's part just by itself, you can go do that. So you guys can just go search on YouTube and find those. And finally, let's see where the song ranks on the best to worst Guns N' Roses song list. Now, Spin.com ranked it as the best Guns N' Roses song from their entire discography. And then we also had Medium.com, who ranked it a bit lower, but it was still in their top 10. They ranked it as number 5. So it doesn't really come to any surprise that Welcome to Jungle is easily a lot of people's favorite songs. It's probably in my top 10 for sure, But that does it for this episode of Guns N' Roses True Story. Let me know what your thoughts are on Welcome to the Jungle. Comment down below, and be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed this episode. You guys can also subscribe to my channel if you love Guns N' Roses and just want to see some more videos just like this. And you guys can also go follow me on Facebook and Twitter. The links to all that good stuff is down below. And you can also support my channel on Patreon to help me make more videos just like this. Thanks for watching, guys, and have yourself a good one.